Thank you for a beautiful day and this wonderful game. In Jesus' name, everyone said.
Well, a pleasant good morning, everyone. Richard, a brand new venue for the same great event, the INFC Championship Saturday. We're live at Lincoln Christian.
Yeah, I'd like to welcome everybody. Once again, we've been hosting it at Bigsby for the last few years, and Lincoln Christian very nicely and stepped up and is hosting out here. What a beautiful facility, what a beautiful setting we have out here. And as they said on the intercom system a while ago, in my opinion, the best day in football in the state of Oklahoma is youth football.
Well, we couldn't ask for better weather. You know, we've been out here on days where it was so cold that the first ball game, we've got the Collinsville Cardinals taking on the Glenpool Warriors. This is third grade football. And as we talked with the coaches for the Glenpool group before the ball game, they come in with a 23-0 record over the last 2 years. And Collinsville, they went undefeated during the regular season, so the third grade game should be a shootout, Richard.
Yeah, Glenpool, I've watched them play a couple times as they've come over to our field, and I've watched them at another stadium. Very physical, very fast. Offensive line is where it sits for them, and they do a tremendous job, especially starting off with number 49, Colton Treat. He's a tailback playing left guard. You know how that goes in youth football. You don't meet the weight. You have to go block, and you'll watch him on some of his pulls sometimes outrun the running back.
Well, and I saw some of the pregame chatter on one of the forums, and it talked about number 99, Chase Kent, that he eats pancakes during every ballgame, and the kickoff was live. And heads up to Angel Santana for the Collinsville Cardinals. They come with the onside kick. Santana will cover it. We'll see the Cardinal offense first. They'll have it first and down. First and down, how about first and 10? The ball rests almost at midfield.
Yeah, it'll be starting with defense for Glenpool as they, if I'm correct, only gave up 13 points all year.
Well, let's go down right quick if we can. We've got Elise on field side. Elise, take it away.
Okay, we have Collinsville. We have Glenpool. We've got some pretty rowdy kids, some cute little cheerleaders. A little breezy, but it's a beautiful day for some third grade football.
So we'll kick off again.
Back to you guys.
Well, thanks a lot, Elise. And as she talked about, we've got some rowdy kids, some cheerleaders that are cute, and we've got a pretty good crowd here today, Richard, for a third grade football game. Apparently we're going to re-kick, and so now the second kick is fielded again right at the 50-yard line, first and 10 to the Cardinals. Trying to say Collinsville Cardinal, and I can't get it out.
Yeah, it'll be first and 10. Good job covering the onside kick, which you see a lot of that in youth football because the hardest thing to do on the special teams is get them to cover their area when they go down on the kickoff, so you see them kick off and have a better chance of recovering. We got a great officiating group down there, a bunch of veterans that do a lot of high school, even a couple of them do college.
Well, you won't see, for those that are watching or listening at home, you won't see a single official out here on the field today that's not high school certified. Every one of these gentlemen were calling a game last night at a high school football stadium near you. First handoff goes right off the right side, and they'll pick up about 6 on the play, second down.
Brought down by number 49, Treat. Pick up a 3, bring up second down and 7. And on the carry was number 33, Cole Priest for the Cardinals.
Gavin Russell will run the offense for the Collinsville group. He'll set up at the quarterback, and he'll do the shuttle system where he'll come across the field almost every time and get the play directly from the sidelines. As we talked about, it's second down and 5 for the Cardinal offense. The Warriors will stack the linebackers right close to the line of scrimmage. And now we got our first pass of the day. Was it caught?
Looks like it was caught. Nice throw. Nope, incomplete. Ball was on the ground.
That judge will come in and say that it did skip into his arm. So now we'll look at third down and 10. But how about that pass for a third grader?
Pretty impressive. But the thing is, at least he knows they can throw it that way because they have the wind at their back, Don, and that'll help him, give him at least 3 or 4 more yards. But he might have needed 1 more extra yard to get it there in the air. But once again, as you were talking about, he was backpedaling because of the pressure of that interior line led in there by the Glenpool's number 40, Ethan Tilgman, and number 49, Colton Treat.
Well, the one thing, too, that pass may do is that, and it does, look, the linebackers are now, they're not in the box anymore. We've shown pass. Now will come a little misdirection run play. But it's smelled out behind the line of scrimmage. He'll shake the first tackle, but Pursuit will get him behind the line of scrimmage. And as we talked about before the game, Glenpool hangs their hat on defense, and Ethan, number 40, was right there to make the stop behind the line of scrimmage. We got a timeout on the field, and no, we don't. What we do
is got a punt.
Yes, sir.
It'll be and let everybody know in 3rd and 4th grade, on 4th down, you can punt 20. It's called the 20-20 rule, meaning if you're at their 30, you can't go 20 yards inside their 20 to the 10. It just stops at the 20. So you get 20 yards on your punt, but it can't go inside the 20. So sometimes if you see them inside the within 19 yards, 15 yards, they'll go for it on 4th down in case they get that big bust. But it'll be 1st down and 10 for Glenpool. Look for them to be real physical up front with that offensive line. And as I told you before, I've watched Colton Treat a few times, and very physical offensive lineman. And so, like I told you, probably a tailback playing left guard, I do believe is where he's at. And number 7, Landon Surratt, all you would think is halfbacks, but probably a couple pounds over the weight limit. And so they have to play on the offensive line and block.
Well, the Warriors will shift Treat to the formation to decide that they want to run on, but the Cardinal will make the hit well behind the line of scrimmage, and that's number 24, Colin Porter, and he'll make a big hit, and we do have our first injured player of the afternoon, and that'll bring out the Glenpool Warrior coaches. We'll have a little break in the action. We'll have an opportunity to talk just a little bit about one of our sponsors. It's called Permabuilt. Hey, they'd like you to know if you live in Oklahoma, you could develop foundation problems, even if you own a brand new home. Having foundation problems, contact Permabuilt at 835-1125. Free estimates for Permabuilt, and thanks to Mr. Kent for stepping up and help us sponsor INFC Championship Saturday.
Unfortunately, we've gotten some bad news.
To whom it may concern, due to budget shortfalls, the Panthers baseball program,
Ballard softball, Vikings basketball,
Woodlawn soccer,
the Tigers basketball program
is indefinitely suspended.
To whom it may concern.
To whom it may concern.
To whom it may concern.
Every kid deserves a chance to play.
We were only able to play about 2 minutes before we had a little break in the action. Richard talked about construction, and I don't know if you all have had an opportunity to come over and tour the Lincoln Christian facilities over here, but they're beautiful. We'd also like to thank Dick's Sporting Goods, because each and every year Carrie steps up, helps us pull this day off, and let's be honest with everybody, this is our day. It's the day we get to shine and showcase what we do all year, and we do it for the kids. And we would be remiss if we didn't talk about one guy, and since we've got some time, we'll talk a little bit about him, and that's Tom Lott. It was his vision, his dream. He's put all this together, and unfortunately we lost Tom about 5 years ago, but the dream lives on, and so does the competition. And one other lady we should talk about, we'll do that maybe a little during halftime, but Miss Tracy Phelps, we've lost her as well. But there are two that you can point to that people still play for, coach for, and do this for. And now we're back to live action. Take it away, Richard.
It'll be 2nd down and 14. We got a false start, looks like. Yep, false start against Glenpool. Coming out a little shaky early. Back them up. It's always hard to play behind the chains at any level, especially at U level, because usually they don't have the great passing game to, accommodate those big extra yardage or gains back in a quick amount of time. So clock's running. We're closing in on 5.5 minutes left in the first quarter. Shotgun runner to the left, and looks like a quick pass out in the flat, gets him out in space, makes a guy miss, got to the edge.
That's Rice up the sidelines, and he'll do what so many times coaches will tell you when you're backed up and you've got it third down and long. Let's try to get at least half of this back. Now, I don't imagine, well, no, this will be third down, and third down manageable now because now you're looking at only third down about 8 or 9. One of the
Bring up third down, still gun formation, 2 backs to each side. Receiver to the left.
That's Ellis that runs the offense for the Warriors, and they'll put 2 in the backfield, as Rich talked about. Brent straight at us. Going to hit me first behind the line of scrimmage. That's number 1, Blaine Bassett. Came across and made the stop, and that's going to bring up a 4th and 10.
Yeah, and this is a good time to punt it, put it back at the 20.
Well, that's the one thing that I noticed throughout the year is a lot of teams don't use the punt to their advantage, and
they're doing it here, though.
Glenpool thought about it for a second, and I think the head coach has said, we're going to punt this thing and go play defense. Both these teams are noted for good defense. Why not?
Be 1st and 10 for Collinsville at the 50-yard line.
That's about halfway through the first quarter, and as we talked about drives, you said it earlier, if you can maintain a long, productive drive, because you only get to touch the ball.
They figured on an average of 5 to 7 times, at the most 7 a game. I've seen sometimes where teams had the ball twice, drove it down, and took up almost all the first half.
So think about it. That means that you only, on the average, you touch 2 times a quarter, 2.5 times a quarter. The Cardinals will work out of the shotgun, the ball's loose.
Looks like the running back got hit, but the quarterback, as soon as he tries to make the handoff, Gavin Russell, he gets lit up in the backfield. That's the second time now that the defensive lineman's almost taken the handoff.
Number 33, Cole Priest, with a heads-up play. He was able to jump on the loose football, so the Cardinals will keep it, but they'll lose 1 on the play, and they're going to look over a 2nd down and 11. I believe it was number 10, Ellis, who disrupted the play to start with that caused the fumble.
Going to run a stretch, but there's the one I was talking about. Treat, speed, and he's a defensive tackle.
Well, and you talk too, these are third graders, but look at the discipline, the defensive end and the back in the backfield. They came up and sealed the edge exactly like coaches wanted them to do. They didn't over-pursue it, so when he cut back inside, there was your help. We make the tackle. Now we look at 3rd and. Discipline on defense is something that has surprised me that so far both of these teams have showed. And again, we can't highlight this enough. These kids are only in the 3rd grade.
3rd down and 10. Gun formation, 2 deep backs and pistol.
You can notice the back judge started his count. One
nice job again in the backfield. Brought down by number 99, Jace Kent, I do believe. Yes. Jace Kent, nice pursuit. He brings him down, and it'll bring up 4th down and 11, and I expect to see him punt again.
Yeah, number 40, Ethan, was there first. He made the initial hit. Kent, again, he played his responsibility perfectly, came across the line of scrimmage, turned that shoulder just enough so the running back couldn't dance it to the outside, and then he made the tackle and forced the punt.
A lot of people here already, Don, and it's early game, and there's a lot of fans here. That's what's great about youth football. Great support by both. Looks like Glenpool and Collinsville probably shut down their towns for the day as they head out here to Lincoln Christian.
Well, I've noticed this over the years that I've watched football. The smaller schools, and not to say that Glenpool's that small anymore, they travel well. I mean, aunts and uncles come. You'll see kids that used to play football for Glenpool will turn out their letter jacket. That's neat. And the Collinsville defense is equal to the challenge.
Jake Hammonds, great job not being blocked. Try to run a quarterback sweep around the left side and had the blockers over there. But if you do not touch, and that kid's at probably at the nose guard or right tackle for the defense against the left side of where they're trying to run the ball for Glenpool, and he wasn't touched.
Well, that might have been a broken assignment because just right as soon as that play unfolded, the Glenpool coach was asking for a timeout. You talked about somebody being unblocked. You might have saw that. Decided, hey, we got to talk about this now because neither team has really been able to move the ball much. Battle of the punt so far.
And then no one's been able to control the line of scrimmage. First team that grabs control of the line of scrimmage somehow will find a way. I mean, it's always turnovers, always special teams, always all the three phases. We hear that all the way from youth all the way through NFL. I get it. But it all starts up front. And whoever gets control of the up front, whether it be one side or the other side, usually what you see is the best offensive lineman on one side. So you defensively you think, hey, they're going to run there. And then what do? You run a counter out of it and get them switching to one side and you pull them, right? So that's what I'm waiting to see if they can find their best offensive line, put them on one side, and start running behind them or start pulling them and running some misdirection. But here it is again. This time, see, they got it blocked. And if 10 would have got his block, that could have went more than 2 yards.
Well, Braxton Bacon, too. And, again, you don't want to be critical of the third grader. He really didn't read that correctly. That was set up for him to come all the way to the sidelines, come straight up the sidelines. He decided to cut off the first block backside, and that's where the help was.
Well, we got 3rd down and 13 at their own 28-yard line.
Ellis looked at the sidelines.
We got an overload on this side, 4 offensive linemen to the right. And that's where they're going to run. But see, that's where they need to go to right there. Now they found it. I'm still going to punt the ball on 4th down, but the next time I get the ball, I think I have found something.
Chase Montre with the tackle for the Collinsville Cardinals, and that name Montre should ring a bell for a few of the Broken Arrow folks. And believe Dad was up in Houston for a while. That's Rams. So Richard said they would punt. The Collinsville defense set up and ready to go. The Glenpool offense thinking about going for it. Now we'll take the timeout. Well, you still might end up with the proverbial punt, but that's the second timeout that the Glenpool team has used in the first quarter.
On this series.
Unfortunately, we've gotten some bad news.
To whom it may concern, due to budget shortfalls, the Panthers baseball program,
Ballard softball. Vikings basketball.
Woodlawn soccer.
The Tigers basketball program
is indefinitely suspended.
To whom it may
To
concern.
whom it may concern.
To whom it may concern.
Every kid deserves a chance to play.
Now, I would say come back and hunt them, but the quarters go by so fast. You definitely want them in the second half. First half, really not that, big of a deal because, like I said, we've already got only 31 seconds left in the first quarter.
Well, don't forget, coming up at halftime, we're going to have a halftime presentation from both cheerleading groups, and halftime fun will be brought to you in part this afternoon by Permabuilt and also by Ron's Hamburger and Chili. That's Ron's Hamburger, located at 91st Home in Broken Arrow, American. It's simply BA's best burger. So after looking at 4th down, we're looking at 4th and about. They've listed on the scoreboard as 4th and 4, ball at the 28-yard line. I think I'm going to have to look at that again. I think that's 38-yard. Now they've got it right. Looks like
Bring up 4th down and 4.
Glenpool looks like they're going to.
Well, they found it. If they can run that same play right there, but they got them a yard short. So great job by Collinsville, and because they didn't punt it, they gained 10 yards from the last possession. They'll be 1st and 10 now at the 40 of Glenpool.
Cole Priest and company, along with Blaine Bassett, there to help the last tackle. Gavin Russell will bring the play in. Ball rests right at the 40-yard line. That may indeed. This probably will, in fact, will be the last play of the first quarter. Unless, of course, the Collins group decides to let the clock that. Second back two on the carry.
Brought down by number, let me guess, 49. Colton Treat.
Treat was there. He got some help, number 77 on the backside.
And that'll bring us to the end of the first quarter. So after one quarter of play, Don, kind of like we thought, filling everybody out, getting started again, a little nervous on TV, neutral place.
Battle of the punt, kind of, as Richard talked about. Coming up next, we'll talk just a little bit about the 4th grade matchup we'll have next. Like, right, I'm staring at the 3rd grade. The 4th grade game will be the Bartlesville Bruins, blue team. Stillwater Pioneers, and as Richard talked about, Stillwater was actually in the finals last year as well.
And there's a familiar name over there. This kid's name's Tate Bernard. His dad be the head coach of Stillwater. So, they're getting a little, like they should.
Absolutely.
And probably getting a little higher end coaching than, not to knock all these other coaches that are giving their time free, for free and doing their stuff. But it's always nice having that high school coach being there just to kind of see a lot of things that other coaches don't see.
Back to live action. We've got second down and 11, and we'll go with second back two. He's going to struggle to get past the original line of scrimmage. One more time, the white shirt for the Glenpool defense rallied to the ball nicely. Several of them that is there to make the tackle. Thompson, I believe, number 52, led the way. Your boy called his name several times, Colt Street.
A lot better athlete than his dad ever was.
Well, now, I'm going to go ahead and let you deal with that one.
There's no doubt about it. I'm just telling you. No doubt about it. He's a lot better than Jared.
Daddy couldn't play.
No, Jared.
Son can.
No.
Collinsville wants to throw again. The quarterback now scrambling. Here comes the defensive pursuit. The first backer there makes a nice play, and that's Nolan Harper. Came in and made the shoestring tackle. And we'll look at fourth down and 10. I know the guys in the crowd can't see it, but I see guys walking the crowd that has his hat on. I reckon that's one of the coaches for Broken Arrow's fifth grade team. Probably a little nerves, couldn't stay at home any longer because he's already out watching football.
So it looks like they punt it, so they'll start at the 20, which is the deepest they could ever start. It'll be 1st and 10 for Glenpool. We're closing in on 7 minutes remaining until halftime. And you'll notice how fast these games start moving. And unfortunate with the injured Collinsville kid, we're still on time.
Well, and that's going to be important to get later in the day. Never want to end up with a situation right here too late. We've got each game's built in with 2-minute time or 2-hour time, but we should be fine.
1st down and 10, Glenpool. Over on the left hash. Wide receiver right, wide receiver left. Back to pass. Nice pass in the middle of the field, but great defense there by number 77. That'd be Brody Tillman as he sniffed it out and held it to a 5-yard gain when it looked like it was blocked pretty well, Don.
Jace Kent, that is. Hauled the pass in. He'll get 5. He got up a little bit frustrated, but again, that's a successful play. Anytime you get 5+ yards on first down, you're staying, as Richard talked about earlier, you're staying ahead of the chains, and that's exactly what you want to do.
2nd down and 5. Quarterback keep. Found a little something off tackle. Bring up 3rd down 1. Pick up 4 on the play. On the carries, the quarterback, I do believe. Yep, number 10, Titan Ellis with the carry. Picks up 4 yards. So now they're 3rd down and 1 instead of 3rd down and they've been 3rd down and 11, 3rd down and 14, and 3rd down and 4. And now they're 3rd down and 1, which is a lot more manageable. And they pick up their first down of the evening, I do believe, of the morning, yeah.
Right. You talked about the fact that they found something. I think some of what they may have found is what they're doing now. They're not putting 3 backfield. They're putting their quarterback back there.
Now look what they're doing here.
Right.
Mass substitutions. Talk about the 7 play or 12 plays they have to play.
Absolutely.
3rd, 4th, and 5th grade have to play 12, and they mass substituted the whole offense.
That's what a lot of coaches don't understand. It's wholesale substitution, position, whatever you want to call it. Strategize that. You got to know when you use these different kids and at what play. That's going to protect it. They lost about 3 on the play. 2nd and 3. We've got another Collinsville Cardinal shaking up on the play.
Unfortunately, we've gotten some bad news.
To whom it may concern, due to budget shortfalls, the Panthers baseball program,
Ballard softball. Vikings basketball.
Woodlawn soccer.
The Tigers basketball program
is indefinitely suspended.
To whom it may concern.
To whom it may concern.
To whom it may concern.
Every kid deserves a chance to play.
Quarterback keeper around the right side. This time it's number 4, Jackson Rice. Got to the edge. Can he get one guy beat?
Got a little bit of speed, and look out. inside the 30, foot race to the 10, 5, see you later. Touchdown, Warriors. Let's watch it again.
Hey, great blocking off the right side. We talked about caving in. They found something they liked on the edge. Great job blocking on the running back as they led out there. And once Jackson gets to the edge, that's what he did when I saw him at Bigsby. He has a lot of speed, and how quickly field position has flipped. And Glenpool goes up 6-0 as they go for the extra point.
They're all important extra point. Richard and I talked about kicking them and you get 2, but it's just as important. If you're going to go for 1, you've got to stick it in the end zone, because if you don't, and then your opponent, and then what happens? They do not score the extra point, so that leaves it 6-0. So now, again, the Cardinal group, they're 1 touchdown and an extra point away from being on top of this ball game. So no sense in panicking with knocked over monitors. Which
and there's a reason why Don has to sit in his seat and be handcuffed to the chair, as he's already knocked over two TVs and a monitor.
Well, what I was trying to do is look at the clock and tell you there's 4:45 left in the ball game.
Well, there's 4:45 remaining. It'll be the kickoff now for Glenpool. Now Collinsville's got to find a way to answer, which they're not here because they don't know how to answer. That's the reason why they're in the championship game.
Well, and you talked about it, Glenpool coaches. I think they found something off that right side, and again, they're putting a couple of extra bodies up there to block, and that was really the first time that Jackson Rice decided to take it outside.
Right.
He went all the way to the boundary and went straight up the sidelines for 6.
But the other thing I notice a lot of, especially in youth ball, is they want to give up on the running lane. And that time they did a great job staying with his block, And then as soon as he found daylight, you saw a whole another gear that the only extra gear I have, it happens to be reverse.
Well, at least you're honest.
Hey, it's either park or reverse.
Well, I hear you can get a pretty good head of steam going, though, when it's heading towards the feed and trough.
Oh, every now and then.
But not near as much before, right?
Right. Kickoff recovered by the Collinsville, and nice job returned it about 3 to 4 yards. To be first down and 10 for Collinsville at the Glenpool Warrior 46-yard line. We're closing in on 4:39 remaining in the first half. Once again, I expect to see a few, as critical as any stage, you see halftime adjustments. So they're going to keep filling each other out, keep the game close, and then look for both teams. I expect Glenpool to go offensively back. I don't expect them to change anything defensively, as they have done a great job spending more time in the backfield than the Collinsville quarterback has. But I expect Collinsville to use that aggressiveness of Glenpool, maybe start going on 2, drawing some offside, get them a little tentative, and then maybe start running some counters, something back, misdirection stuff.
Well, that was a great play by Santana as the Glenpool group came with the long onside kick. Santana said, that's no problem. I'm going to field this thing and try to run it. Now look out. Loose football. I believe it was Chase Kent that got in there that caused the fumble. Now we'll unscramble and see who came away with the football. Big Kevin Mycloff says it's going the other way.
Yep, had to be Mycloff because I lost the Glenpool sideline with those biceps of his. They kind of disappeared. Now they're back. Okay, so that had to be Kevin out there pointing in the direction of Glenpool. Once again, as we just talked about before, Glenpool's been spending a whole lot of time in that backfield, and Collinsville might need, as an offensive line guy myself, might need to shrink in those those stance between each other, shorten it up a little bit, and not give as much space.
Braxton Bacon is in the backfield now. He'll join Rice, and Rice saw something on the last play. He said, hey, I'm going to try to go to the outside again. This time it's played well by the Cardinal defense. In fact, that's one of the bigger hits we've seen, and we'll try to check the number.
That's who I thought it was, number 33, Cole Priest, with the big hit over on the sideline. Picks up maybe half a yard. We'll give him a yard.
An official's timeout.
We got a Collinsville down. Well, unfortunately for Collinsville, they've spent a lot of kids getting hurt already in the first half.
And that might be the young man that, as we say, kind of laid the wood to the
No,
ball
he's out
carrier
here.
right
I think
there.
it was looking for 36. No, he's out there. 24, he's out there. Number 1, that's the one that's made some big plays in the backfield, Blaine Bassett for Collinsville, and he jogs off on his own power.
Now, that's Harper. He says, hey, don't worry about it. No, you're right. That's Blaine Bassett. He said, don't worry about it, Coach. I'll set one play, and I'll be right back out there. Mom, you can breathe easy. He's up, and he ran off on his own power. And it's second down and about 9 for the Glenpool offense. And Glenpool holds a 6-0 lead with 3:52 left in the first half of our first ball game. The Glenpool Warriors taking on the Collinsville Cardinals, that is, in the third grade of the INFC Championship final Saturday.
Man in motion out to the left. Look for a quick pass. Gets it out in the edge. Make a block. Now go straight to the edge. Right now, they'll learn. Go ahead and keep running to that sideline. You can worry about the cutback when you get outside the numbers.
Hey,
you know, Bigsby's real good, and even at high school level, spitting the ball out there to the sideline. And then what they learn to do is get it and go straight to the sideline and then look to cut after they get to that edge. But it looks like he picked up 7 on the play after second down and 9, now it's third down and 2. And they're now in Collinsville territory at their 43-yard line, third down and 2.
And that pass was actually hauled in by Jackson Rice, and that's Ellis on the carry. He'll get real close to the first down. He's going to bring up fourth down in inches. Now, this is one time where we talked earlier, you know, punt, but this is one time where I'm pretty sure the Glenpool offensive minds will say, no way, we're going for this one. On second effort, he'll get close, but the Collinsville defense, I believe they're going to make the stand short of the first down. And as we talked about, they may have found something, but that time the Collinsville defense rose up to the occasion. And according to the White Hat, absolutely, the Cardinals, what are they?
They're the Cardinals.
Thank you.
The Collinsville Cardinals
have turned the ball over first and 10.
Don, I think you need to go to a lifesaver. Your tongue's getting stuck.
That's one thing about Richard. You know, you can always count on him to help you.
Yeah, I'm right here to help pick you up, then push you back down, help you up again.
Thank you.
Yep.
I've known this kid so well. Let's not go there.
First down and 10, Collinsville at their own 41-yard line. Left hash, receiver to the left. 2 tight ends, 2 backs in the backfield. Looking to pass now. Nice arm. And looks like we're going to have a flag on the play.
Blaine Bassett was back there for the defense.
It looks like illegal man downfield for the Collinsville Cardinals as he's passed 3 yards past. You get 2, and he was probably 3 to 4 yards downfield. And I'm expecting them to take the penalty. Maybe not. I would take it because it's 10 yards, I do believe. But maybe it's just 5, and it'll bring up second down and 10 at their own 41-yard line.
Hey, but one thing to consider with 2:25 left, they might have declined that penalty took that penalty only so that we can make it second down. They may be hoping to get the ball back for a couple more plays before this first half plays out.
2:25 remaining until halftime. As Don talked about earlier, we'll be having both cheerleading groups perform as they work just as hard as those football players with their practices and their stunts and their performances. And then, of course, we'll come back here with second half action. Slow developing play in the backfield. On that kind of, it's all timing when you start doing that kind of stuff. And the running back wasn't even close. The guy that went in motion to get the jet handoff was still 5 yards away. And that quarterback just standing there, hey, you going to come and get it? You know, and so a little slow developing and loss on the play and bring up third down and 14. The only thing you were talking about Glenville getting the ball back is the only thing they burnt 2 timeouts early. So, you know, we're now under 2 minutes remaining. And if they stop them here, I expect Glenville to call a timeout.
Which could get, you know, as we talked about, that could still give them over a minute to operate. And it's third down and about 14. Second back through will get the carry. He'll try to bounce it to the outside, but Chase can't.
We got a fumble again, but this
right
time
there.
recovered by Collinsville. So bring up fourth down and 9, and we're down a minute and a half remaining. And I was surprised Glenville didn't call a timeout there. Because now we got a timeout too.
Now, did they stop the clock to go through the punt process?
Yeah, but I would have let it run down and then say I'm going to punt. That's the thing that'll, you know, time management's the biggest thing I see lost in youth football is you could have burned and made them burn the timeout or run down 20 seconds, 24 seconds and call your own timeout, then punt the ball.
Well, I think it's funny that you said time management's a problem in youth football. For heaven's sakes, time management's a problem in all areas of football. If you watch college and even the professional game, where you sit there and think, why are we not hurrying? Or the opposite end, you know, why aren't you milking the clock here? You're ahead by 10.
Because we got to run 92 plays, they think, you know.
Oh, you spread it out.
Yeah, we got to spit it out. We got to get it going. But yet New England Patriots found a way to do it with the running game. There's the bubble screen out to the right, spit out to number 99. He gets out of bounds on his own. Great job by Jace Kent stopping the clock, picking up, it looks like 4 yards on the play.
You know, that's a heads-up play for a
Bring up 2nd down and 6.
I think we're going to have an adjustment on the stadium clock there as both officials are looking up here. Second down 5. Can't cut it in just about half. And as Richard talked about, then was smart enough to get out of bounds. That's completed to Rice in the flat, and that's the one with some wheels.
This is where you get to the
and
edge,
he's going
though.
to go to the edge, and can he get there? Still on his feet and finally pushed out of bounds inside the 25-yard line. Heads up play, though, by number 36, Jake Hammonds, the big boy, got downfield and was able to get just enough on him to push Rice out of bounds.
Bring up 1st and 10 at the Cardinal 26-yard line as they like the 4 wide. And I'd go right back to the same pass pattern, get a block, get to the edge.
And
Keep
Chase
running to the sideline.
Now we've got
Yep.
a flag.
Yeah, we're going
Chase
to have
is
holding.
to the edge and a big first down, but it's coming back, I believe, based on where, yep, Mr. Mackoff's pointing. We're going back this way, and we had an offensive holding. What we're trying to do is figure out which cheerleading group is going to go first so we can highlight them. And if they do it like they do in the regular season, the visitors always goes first. And so I'm going to guess that since Collinsville's sitting on this side and Glenpool's sitting over there, I'm going to guess that Glenpool's the visitors. So I'm going to guess their cheerleading group will go first. And we're looking now at a 1st down and 20. Back to Kent. Kent will lower his head, and he'll get about 2 on the play.
Timeout, Glenpool.
Timeout, Glenpool.
And that'll be their last timeout with 32 seconds left in the first half.
Talked about how important possessions of the football were earlier on in the broadcast, and that's kind of turned out to be true in this as well. We had a kind of a battle of punts there for a while, and then the Glenpool offense found the corner. They put it in the end zone for 6, and trying to do it one more time before we go to the half.
One of the athletic directors at Union High School, Emily Barkley, has given me grief over Facebook. Of course she would. And all she said she hear is blah, blah, blah. Well, it's funny. That's about what I hear when I talk to her is all I hear is Charlie Brown's teacher. Wah, 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 wah. Well, bring up 2nd down and 19 as we come back. 32 seconds remaining. And just giving Emily Barkley a hard time, but what a great job she does over at Union High School as the athletic director for such a big school. She does a tremendous job. Was a pretty good high school player.
Before the snap, we had movement up front. We'll see who it's on.
I say pretty good. She's all right. But she can make a mean pizza at Mazzio's.
They're going to move him back 5 yards because we had illegal shift on the offensive line. You notice that Jackson Rice is not in at quarterback. We've got number 10, so that means the ball probably will end up in Rice's hands if they can get it there. Pass goes down deep, in and out of the hands, and we'll check the intended receiver. And just as I thought, that was Jackson Rice, the intended receiver. That's going to bring up a 4th down. With 27 seconds left now, the Glenpool group may elect to go back to the run and try to use as much of this last 27 seconds as they can so they don't have to give the ball back to Collinsville if they don't have to. And just as I said that, they do the little swing pass out here, and they'll get right back to the line of scrimmage. That time it was completed to Braxton Bacon.
And this is where you do the mass. Why is the clock not running?
Well, the official just wound it, so...
we should have been started probably 10 seconds ago.
So unless Collinsville has a timeout, it's going to be tough for them to get a playoff. Well, no, we're down to 16 seconds.
I expect them not to snap the ball because they just did mass substitutions trying to get still some plays. And I don't expect them to snap the ball to about 3 or 4 seconds. Yeah, Collinsville's going to call a timeout and make them snap it.
Collinsville Cardinal will take the timeout with just 6 seconds left. And as Richard talked about, and I think the coach is actually out there maybe explaining this to a couple of his athletes, is, hey, we wanted that timeout a lot quicker. because they ran off about 15, 16 seconds, which will basically mean they won't touch the ball again probably, and if they do, it'll be for just one play.
Don't forget our next matchup here on 2019 INFC Championship game being a fourth grade matchup of last year's third grade game, now in fourth. Stillwater Pioneers and the Bartlesville Blue Bruins, followed with the Broken Arrow Black Tigers and Richard Sayal and the Glenpool Warriors. So Glenpool putting two teams on Championship Saturday. That's got to be exciting over in the Glenpool area. Stop on a play, it'll be a stop. It'll be a turnover on downs. They'll get one play maybe. If not, the clock will start.
Yeah, that was Ellis on the carry, and I was trying to watch the replay to see who got through there, but somebody made a great play behind the line of scrimmage.
But the clock's going to stop unless Collinsville calls timeout.
And they had to have taken a timeout because if they didn't, once we respotted the ball, wouldn't we have wound it?
Well, they're about to right now.
They'll blow the ball ready for play.
Looks like they're going to give them a snap.
So barring a penalty, this will indeed be the last play of the first half of action in the third grade INFC Championship Saturday, brought to you by Dick's Sporting Goods. Collinsville quarterback wants to throw, and he will over the middle, and it's knocked away.
That'll bring us to halftime, Don, with the Glenpool Warriors up 6-0. Spent a lot of time in between the 30-yard lines the first half, except for the big run by number 4, Jackson Rice for Glenpool. We'll come back, and like I said, we'll have some cheerleaders performing at halftime, starting with the Glenpool Warrior third grade cheerleaders.
Unfortunately, we've gotten some bad news.
To whom it may concern, due to budget shortfalls, the Panthers baseball program,
Ballard softball. Vikings basketball.
Woodlawn soccer.
The Tigers basketball program
is indefinitely suspended.
To whom it may concern.
To whom it may concern.
To whom it may concern.
Every kid deserves a chance to play.
Unfortunately, we've gotten some bad news.
To whom it may concern, due to budget shortfalls, the Panthers baseball program,
Ballard softball. Vikings basketball.
Woodlawn soccer.
The Tigers basketball program
is indefinitely suspended.
To whom it may concern.
To whom it may concern.
To whom it may concern.
Every kid deserves a chance to play.
It'll be first down and 10. First and 10 for Collinsville first down and 10 for Glenpool at their own 49-yard line after the kickoffs. They received the second half kick. Snap to the quarterback, Kent. Big stop in the backfield. Led in there by number 36. It looks like Jake Hammonds disrupting stuff in the Warrior backfield. Loss on the play of 5. Bring up second down and 15 for the Warriors. After a slow start, the Warriors found the edge early in the second quarter to take a 6-0 lead, and we've been there most of the rest of the way. And both defenses, except for the one lapse by Collinsville, has been pretty impressive. And we'll bring up second down and 15. Now we're running a sweep. Block on the edge. Corner comes up, misses the tackle, makes a man miss, gets to the edge, and stays in bounds, and fights continually running. Great running by number 4. That is incredible. I couldn't do that on PlayStation. And he found his way to the corner of the end zone, and they put him out. Oh, they didn't give it to him. What great effort down inside the 1 by number 4, Jackson Rice. I don't know. I might would have given it to him as he knocks down the pylon, as he outran the official by about 25 yards late getting to the game and marks him out at the 2.5-inch line. It'll be first and goal for Glenpool as they now flip the field position and can almost put, not going to say put it on ice this early in the second half, but my goodness, you get down to the 1-yard line and you're only a minute into the third quarter and can go up 2 scores pretty quick. I'd like to welcome my partner, Don, back, as he's been losing a lot of weight working out, and he decided to run 13 stairs as he was finishing his workout before he came up here. And a little late to the box helping me, but Don, as you were gone, we just had a incredible run by Rice down the left sideline, and he got down, look shot, he could have been tackled 4 or 5 times. I even think he did a double pirouette, came out on ice skates, and got a 10 by the judges.
Well, as long as you get a 10 by the judges, the only thing would be more important than that's put 6 on the scoreboard. And as you talked about, if they can punch this in and go up 2 scores, especially if they can get this next extra point, you know, those listening at home are probably going to get tired of us talking about it, but we'll talk about extra points forever during this afternoon's broadcast. First and goal, ball at about the half-yard line.
And now it's at the 6-yard line because we have a false start, which just frustrates. And I'm guessing they made whole hell substitutions again because they've had 2 penalties when they've changed complete groups out.
Well, and as Richard said earlier in the game, some of the people will wonder why they do that. Well, they've got every young man has to play a minimum of 12 plays.
Now bring up second down and goal from the 5.
Well, Ellis on the carry, and he's going to be hit well behind the line of scrimmage. And the Collinsville defense, they're smelling it too. They understand if we can keep them out of the end zone here, we're still in the ball game.
The tackle by number 12, Dylan Martin for the Cardinals. It'll bring up second and goal from the 5. Bunch formation to the right, heavy backfield. Back in there in the gun is number 33, Braxton Bacon. And he's going to run off tackle. There's the hole. Touchdown! No flags on the play. Touchdown Warriors, and they take a 12-0 lead.
Oh, Bacon saw just a little bit of a crease, and he planted that foot. He got north and south in a hurry, and that'll roll your score to the Glenpool Warriors 12 and Collinsville setting at 0. And we've got the point after, and we'll go with Ellis again in the backfield. He'll run from the quarterback spot, and we'll put Rice behind him. Quarterback on the keeper, and he
Nice
will
play
not.
by the defense. Led in there, looks like by number 12 again, Dylan Martin.
One of the things I was a little remiss in, and I hope the young lady down on the field, I hope she got me covered on this. I was supposed to say that our halftime fun, as always, is brought to you by Permabuilt. We'd like to thank them for stepping up and help us sponsor INFC Championship Saturday. They'll sponsor, that is, all of the halftime ceremonies thanks to Permabuilt. And we're waiting for a Warrior kickoff.
And any of you other people that are out there looking for a perfect time to advertise, we'll start early next summer doing advertising for the INFC Championship game. Great way to get your name of your company, anything you're needing out to not just an area, but all over Northeast Oklahoma, and even sometimes when the Oklahoma City schools come down and get to play and participate in this like we had last year. I think we had Edmond come down. It's good to get your name out there, and you can get a hold of me and Don through the INFC. A lot of you probably already know my number, and some of you probably wish you didn't have my number. That's fine. But here we are with the kickoff. Another onside kick, but we got a flag on the play. I don't know if we're quite ready yet. Nope, we didn't have enough guys up on the line. They're supposed to be close to it, so he'll re-kick the ball again. Glenpool up 12-0, 6:10 remaining in the third quarter. Reason why we're a little slow getting off is because we had an injury. Not heard an update yet, but I will ask after the ball game and give you an update of an injured Collinsville player carted off early in the first quarter. Matter of fact, I think we weren't even in 2.5 minutes into the game. And onside kick now recovered, and they'll start at the 46-yard line or 47-yard line, 1st and 10 for the Collinsville Cardinals, as they've got to find a way to muster something on the offensive side, Don, because they have not done anything, maybe one first down the whole first half. And get credit to the Collinsville defense, led in there by number 49, Colton Treat, and number 54, Gideon Carney. Definitely two kids that didn't get their athletic ability from their dad because they are showcasing tons of athletic abilities. We like to, let their dads know that really you might have talked to them, but they didn't get their athletic ability from you.
Well, on the Cardinal defense, they got to be proud of themselves. They've given up 2 big plays. That's it. And the offense, as Richard talked about, is not, and the ball gets knocked loose.
Covered in the backfield, though, by Collinsville, and another loss on the plays. They tried to hand the ball off to Blaine Bassett, and he gets stuffed at the 44-yard line. Loss of 3 on the play, bring up 2nd down and 13, and they have spent a lot of time in the backfield.
Well, Ellis and Kent on that play said, meet me at the quarterback, and by golly, they did, and they made the stop behind the line of scrimmage. And as we talked earlier in the game, Gavin Russell runs the offense for the Cardinals, and he's having trouble getting it past the original line of scrimmage.
Second down and 13, shotgun formation, single receiver to the left, 2 backs in gun position. Now they put them in the deep pistol eye.
Before the play, we might have either had too much time. Yes, we did. We had to delay a game on the Cardinal as the back judge threw it. Mackloff will mark it off, and I feel like we can call him Mr. Mackloff because as many times as we've seen him on Saturdays at either your park or mine, and then as you talked about, we do baseball with him. Kevin's a great guy. Not only does he coach a team, but he gives his time here as well, and we appreciate what the officials do for our program as well.
Big hole, first big run of the day for Collinsville. Picks up, looks like 8 yards, almost gets them back to the original line of scrimmage, and brings up, it looks like 3rd down and 10 for the Cardinals. I wouldn't be surprised, though, if this is 2-down territory, down 12-0. They really don't want to punt the ball back as Glenpool has taken the ball down and scored 2 of their last 3 possessions.
Well, and time becomes a factor. We're halfway through quarter number 3, and as Richard and I talked about earlier in this broadcast, is your possessions are limited. So now it behooves Collinsville. They almost have to score each time they touch the ball, barring a turnover, because they'll only see it about 4 more times.
Pick up a 4 on the play. Make it 3. Bring up 4th down and 7. Now, what's Collinsville going to do here on offense? And like I said, I expect them to go for it because they haven't done a whole lot offensively, and you really cannot afford to give the ball back. Your defense has been playing pretty good, so even if they get the ball back at the 50, you're rolling your dice that your defense can still find a way to keep them out of the end zone.
Braxton Ellison hustles off for the Warrior defense, and they'll bring on another able body. And as Richard talked about, the ball rests right at the 50-yard line. We've got it 4th down and 7 to go. And the Warriors will put 3 in the backfield. We had a little movement back there, but maybe he got set in time across the middle.
6.
Picked off. That's Ellis with the interception, and he'll take it up the sidelines to the 30-yard line. 1st and 10 Warriors.
We at the 35, 1st and 10. Nice job, as we talked about. That's the only thing about passing. 2 negative things always happen, incomplete or an interception. And it's just hard to pass the ball down the field. Now, as you've seen Glenpool, they run twins left, twins right, and run the bubble screen, tunnel screen out there and spit it out to the left and right fast. Now you got a guy in space, a little safer pass. It'll be 1st and 10 at the 35-yard line. And I'm looking for Glenpool to really heavy dose off tackle plays and not to put the ball in the air.
Landon Surratt, he'll settle over the ball. He'll anchor from the center spot. Always important as many times as these teams come out of the shotgun. And just as I say it, they'll make the hit well behind the line of scrimmage. But as Richard talked about, that's not necessarily a bad thing for
no turnovers,
the Glenpool team. Just don't turn the ball over. Try to milk clock a little bit.
Punt the ball on 4th down. Put it down to their 20-yard line.
I would tell my quarterback not to snap it until the official makes his second movement with his hand, because he'll count you down in the last 5 seconds, and we'll just run clock as much as we can. And I know people are going to say, wait a minute, it's just in the 3rd quarter, but I've got a 2-score lead. I'm going to work clock here too.
And that's the reason why. Bad snap. Goes way over the quarterback's head. Great athletic ability coming down with it and it not being a turnover. But the biggest thing is the clock still running. We're under 2 minutes to play in the 3rd quarter. And it'll bring up 3rd down and long. Safe. I'm looking for a safe play, maybe a misdirection play here. I'm not sure I want to put it in the air and stop the clock and then go ahead and punt the ball and spin them inside the 30-yard line.
When you got your punt in your back pocket.
And here comes your tunnel stuff right here. Bubble screen, tunnel screen. Bubble screens, the outside wide receiver comes back. Tunnel screens out, inside guy goes out. And now we stop the clock. So, of course, what do I know? As the clock stops with 1:28 seconds left, and we're going to turn around and punt the ball anyway, and the clock's going to stop.
No,
you're throwing into the wind. You're 3rd grade. They're rolling the dice. Glenpool is, as they've done really well all year. So now we bring up 4th down, and they're so much confident in their defense, they're going to go for it again. But see, now you snap it over your head, and now you've given the ball to Collinsville, 1st and 10 at their 42-yard line. Oh, yeah, and the clock isn't running for some reason. We still have had a trouble starting the thing with the new PA guy or new clock guy because they have missed about 10 seconds, 15 seconds of running clock, which if I'm Glenpool, I'm going to have a little talk to them about that. But right now, as we talked about, we were at the 35 of Collinsville. And now you're at your 42 after you gave them the ball. You lost 30 yards.
Well, we punted all right. We just punted the wrong way.
And you burned no clock off.
And you were not wrong. You said maybe you didn't know. No, you were exactly right. You run the football there. And then what I was thinking about, hey, I might even take a too much time penalty before I elect to go punt the football, and you could work this clock almost down to 0. Now we've got a minute left in the 3rd quarter, but we do have a flag on the play. So now we'll let the officials get together and we'll sort this all out. Marcus Dolan is also down there, I think you said earlier.
False start against Collinsville.
That'll cost them 5. So
you don't want to start behind the chains. You've had trouble. You had a couple good runs on the last possession, but now you're starting 1st and 15. Worst case scenario, you'd ever want to be a 2nd and 10, right? And now you're 1st and 15. Now if they can get some plays here, we're good. But now they haven't ran a play, Don. We started this at 1:28. And we've already down, looks like 40 seconds. We've already ran off the clock, and we haven't even snapped the ball yet. And Collinsville might get the ball to snap the ball one more time after this. And they've, lost 2 plays probably by the penalty and no clock management.
So the Cardinals will put 2 in the backfield, and they'll set them straight behind the quarterback. He turns
And
and
he
hands
just
to the
around-
second back through, and white shirts got there in a hurry.
Yeah, let in there on the ground. I didn't get a number 19. Looks like maybe that's 12. Maybe that's Briggs Madera. Yeah, Briggs Madera came in from the corner spot. Looks like Colton Treat also in there. And number 52, Ethan Thompson.
Santana will bring the play in for the Cardinal offense at second down, and that'll do it.
One play from 1 minute and 28 seconds.
As the clock goes to 0, I didn't hear the horn, but I guess they signaled them down on the field, and there goes the horn.
Yeah. Hey, here we go. Fourth quarter, Don. Let's talk about this. I'm Glenpool. I'm not putting the ball in the air. Okay? Now, if you do, I come out of the press box, run over there, take your card away for your coaching card, make you go sit in the stands with your wife.
Well, I don't know that you could make it over there before the end of the quarter, but I certainly agree that I don't believe you'll see the and that's one of the things that we miss here, too, is the fact that you can't go under center, but what we want to talk about is what comes your way next. We got the Bartlesville Bruins taking on the Stillwater Pioneers. That's going to be your fourth grade shootout live.
Rematch from last year, Don.
Absolutely. And, of course, we'll still be right here on the beautiful Lincoln Christian School campus. We'd like to thank those folks for inviting us over here.
Big play in the backfield again. We got a flag on the play. Not sure what we're going to have here. Maybe holding. Usually is the area, but in youth football, you never know.
But again, if that's against the offense, that's a killer.
That's against the defense. No, it's against.
I think we're looking towards the.
They'll take the loss of down, is what they're talking about.
I think we're trying to figure out where it would advance it before they elect whether they're going to take it or decline it. So we're going over and talking to the Glenpool coaches to find out their decision. I'm going to go ahead and decline
They'll decline
this
it
and make
because it
it
was a 2-yard
down.
loss. It should be back at the 40. Yeah. Judge has it over on the side. Should be at the 41-yard line, it looks like. Exactly. And they'll decline to bring up third down. Clock's running. And we still haven't started the clock. Now we have.
Well, we got to
we
get
got
the
it.
ball. Once we get the ball reset for play, as they did, now we're going to wind the clock at third down. And it's third down in a bunch, which is exactly what Collinsville didn't need because you talked about it so well in the third quarter. They really haven't been able to muster much offense against this dominant Warrior defense, and they've got their linebackers now sucked up again to the line of scrimmage, and you're simply running 8 on 5 right there.
Yeah, you don't out. The goal is always try to get more hats in an area. You were talking about, remember, Glenpool in the first half adding extra 3 running backs to the right, overload extra linemen to the right, trying to get more hats than them. Glenpool's running the ball. Collinsville running the ball in the middle with your offensive line that's kind of struggled inside, not trying to get to the edge, and they're just swallowing it up.
Well, that first deep pass that the Cardinals were able to execute on offense, even though they didn't complete it, that backed the linebackers up for about 5 or 6 plays. Now that they haven't been able to really establish the run or the pass, now your backers are back up there.
And they're coming downhill.
Right. And it's fourth down.
Looks like they're going to time out Collinsville.
Well, the Collinsville coach understands that it's fourth down. He's going to have to pull up some trickeration if he can, because if they don't pick up this first down, it might be time to cue Howard Cosell and turn out the lights, which I'm sure that I'm probably the only one old enough that ever remembered Howard doing that on Monday Night Football. I'd like to thank Permabuilt for helping us sponsor INFC Championship Saturday today, along with Dick's Sporting Goods and Ron's Hamburger Chili. It's located at 91st and Elm right there in Broken Arrow, simply BA's Best Burger. And coming up next, as we talked about, we have a rematch, Richard. We've got the Stillwater Pioneers taking on the Bartlesville Bruins. And that's good for the INFC because, again, that's 2 clubs that people don't necessarily look at as far as powerhouse football. They always tell us, oh, the INFC is all about the Jinx and the Unions and the Broken Arrows. Well, no, because we've got Glenpool, Collinsville, now Bartlesville, and Stillwater. So it's all about the kids, and it's growing.
Gun, man in motion. Probably going to be something off to the left.
Oh, what a catch on the far side by number 13 for the Collinsville offense.
Brought down
That's
by number
Santana.
33. Bacon brings him down. Got a flag on the play. Too many men moving. Not enough guys on the line of scrimmage, looks like, as the side judge Marcus Dolan. I'll decline it to be a turnover on downs, 1st and 10 for the Warriors at the 50-yard line.
Well, Coach Stickney was correct. He declined the penalty. That'll bring the Glenpool offense, as he said, back on the field, and we're going to wind the clock.
Unfortunately, we've gotten some bad news.
To whom it may concern, due to budget shortfalls, the Panthers baseball program,
Ballard softball. Vikings basketball.
Woodlawn soccer.
The Tigers basketball program
is indefinitely suspended.
To whom it may
To
concern.
whom it may concern.
To whom it may concern.
Every kid deserves a chance to play.
The Glenpool group, you got to believe they're in the mode that says, hey, we just want that 6 that's on the score clock to turn into a 0, and then we want to go somewhere over in Glenpool and have us a little party as the INFC 2019 third grade champions. And speaking of championships, we understand that winning championships is not something that some of these kids on Glenpool aren't used to. They play on the prime baseball team, and they've collected a few rings. And now, again, we're having trouble with the snap. And I don't know if we've gone with a new center or what's going on, but we didn't have any problems whatsoever in the first half. And now we're getting down into the fourth quarter, and we can't get the ball to the quarterback. Now, lucky that you're up 2 scores, and so it's not quite as critical, but you're going the wrong way, folks.
2nd down and long.
So now what do? We go under center like it was designed to when they drew up this game called football.
Big hit in the backfield by number 2, Carson Hillstead. Gets about another loss on the play. Bring up 3rd down and long, but your clock's moving, closing in on 5.5. It'll be under 5.5 minutes left in the ball game by the time they snap the ball. Our next game will be at 12 o'clock. It'll be Stillwater and Bartlesville.
Well, and that'll be a rematch, as we've talked about, and we'll have a couple of those today. And just as Richard and I said that they won't do anything but run the football, they put it up in the air, and it was almost picked off.
Almost intercepted, but it'll bring up 4th down.
But again, you lose the opportunity to run so many precious seconds off the clock because you throw it on 3rd down. That stops the clock, which turns into 4th down. So now even if you do punt it, no time goes off the clock.
5:21 remaining. I'm really surprised they're not punting here.
Well, that's why.
I guess you're right. They know
why.
more than me do. Great call by the Glenpool Warriors.
They knew that number 4, Rice, was going to get loose, and we'll see you later. 6 points as Rice had a reservation for 6, and he just checked into the end zone.
Great pass by number 10, Titan Ellis.
Gives people at home a chance to watch this again and watch the number of tackles he breaks. And once he hits the 50, he knows where to go. And he said, I'm going home. And they are going to go home here pretty quick, but they'll go home with a big round trophy that says the Glenpool Warriors are the 2019 INFC champions.
Well, that's why we're up here, Don. And they're down there coaching it. They definitely proved me wrong.
Well, I know a couple of the guys getting to know them through baseball and now through football that do coach over on the Glenpool team, and I'm sure we'll hear about it sometime during next baseball season about how much I don't know about coaching football, but I still probably would have did it my way. Of course, you know that. What did Frank Sinatra say? How'd he do it? Did it his way.
Still does. Oh, no, he don't.
No.
Be kicking off now at the 40-yard line. The Glenpool Warriors now up 18-0, 5:03 remaining.
Well, and you can tell now that The crowd over on the Glenpool side is getting just a little bit more raucous, as I think they can smell the writing on the wall as well. And I'm not exactly sure how many points they gave up in the regular season, but one more time, we've got a heads-up play by one of the up men for the Collinsville Cardinal, and he'll take it up the sidelines. You don't see very many of the big boys that has the wherewithal to say, hey, you know what? Yeah, Coach, I'm going to make sure I feel this, but not only that, I'm going to try to take it to the house.
Takes it to the 32-yard line, number 36, Jake Hammonds for the Collinsville Cardinals. Nice return. Now the Glenpool Warriors will go on defense, where they've played so well the whole first half and into the fourth quarter, as they've held the Collinsville Cardinals out of the end zone.
Well, they also
4:53 remaining, clock's running.
And they pitched a shutout in the semifinals as well. As I saw that, I believe they defeated Skytook. I believe it was 32-0. And the Skytook group had actually defeated the defending second-grade champions that happened to be a Broken Arrow team to march on to the semifinals. We got a loose football. One of the big guys up front comes away with it, and that's number
49, big Colton Treat.
And you were telling us that his dad is equally as talented when he was a little boy, so I guess he got that from his father. And the ball goes back over to the Glenpool Warriors, 1st and 10. And it's a frustrating day if you're an offensive coach for the Collinsville group. But, hey, we can't take anything away from the Collinsville kids because they are equally as talented, got here to play in this championship game, just kind of have an off day on offense.
1st down and 10. Now you're going to start seeing the off-tackle stuff, and we get a flag on the play.
Which is another thing that if you're an offensive coach, you don't want to see. Guys, don't worry about it. Don't grab. Don't hold. Just let the clock run because we're trying to get to the post-game festivities. And speaking of which, we will throw it over to the PA announcer when we are done here in just a second, and he will announce each and every player as they make it through the line to collect their hardware, which most of these kids are all about nowadays, is getting the INFC championship trophy, and not only that, a medal for each and every kid as the clock works inside of 3:45 in game number 1. Well, and again, these two experts out in the booth keep saying that they're not going to pass it anymore. They certainly won't, and well, they just did again. Braxton Bacon hauled that one in, but the best thing about that, that's a complete pass, so the clock does keep running, and it's 3rd down. Rice looks over to the sideline. He'll get the play from the sidelines, and now they'll start to take as much time as they can before they hike it. And one more time, we have trouble with the snap.
But he got loose in the middle of the field. Nice tackle in the open field by the Cardinals.
That was
number 33, I do believe, again, Cole Priest.
Priest with a nice stop, and it was Ellis that one more time, kind of magician-like, was able to get the snap before it got over his head because you don't want to turn it over here.
Unfortunately, we've gotten some bad news.
To whom it may concern, due to budget shortfalls, the Panthers baseball program,
Ballard softball. Vikings basketball.
Woodlawn soccer.
The Tigers basketball program
is indefinitely suspended.
To whom it may concern.
To whom it may concern.
To whom it may concern.
Every kid deserves a chance to play.
Snap high again, and we're still passing the ball. And that's why. 1st down, Glenpool. He's down by contact. It'll be 1st down and 10. Flag on the play.
Well, and Jackson Rice, one more time, is the one that hauled in the pass. And I tell you what, I've been at this. This is my 28th year. And I'm not sure I've ever seen a 3rd grade team that's thrown the ball quite this successfully. And not only are they throwing it, but it's almost like the quarterback's throwing it for a spot. I mean, he's not waiting for him to get open. It's not like you're going to go down 4 yards, turn around, and hit you in the middle. He's throwing it. They're running under it, kind of like you see in real football. And not that, and I know I'm going to hear about this, not that this isn't real football, but you don't see that out of 3rd grade athletes too often.
Not too many times, but that's why they're in the championship game. We had an illegal lineman downfield and a personal foul, looks like. Did I see that correct?
Well,
I'd like to see the call again. I don't know what. All I saw was a personal foul. Clock's running. Be under 2 minutes before they snap the ball. Gets it out to the edge. This time, Mr. Rice still finds a way to get around the edge, but runs out of bounds, stops the clock. But when they get older, they'll learn to stay in bounds, as they've done a tremendous job. And
all right, we've got one of the Collinsville players might be shaken up on the play. And in fact, we do.
Unfortunately, we've gotten some bad news.
To whom it may concern, due to budget shortfalls, the Panthers baseball program,
Ballard softball. Vikings basketball.
Woodlawn
The
soccer
Tigers basketball program.
is indefinitely suspended.
To whom it may
To
concern.
whom it may concern.
To whom it may concern.
Every kid deserves a chance to play.
okay, here we are, back to the field. 4th down and 13 for the Glenpool Warriors at their own 34-yard line. Clock's running. No reason to rush the snap, but we're going to anyway. Fake handoff, throw the ball downfield, intercepted, and it'll be 1st and 10 for Collinsville at the 42-yard line.
So we got off basically a 8-yard punt.
8-yard punt, which is fine.
And the clock keeps
When
moving.
they set the ball, the clock will get running.
And remember, the Collinsville Cardinals have had to burn 2 timeouts. One when they didn't have quite enough men on the field, and they used the timeout when they were only down 12 points. Now that they find themselves down 18, it's kind of a different story. Gavin Russell will bring the play in one more time. He's occupied the quarterback slot throughout the entire ball game.
Clock's running. We're under a minute and a half remaining in the ball game. Glenpool's getting that much closer to their being crowned 2019 third grade INFC champions, and what an accomplishment it's been for them. And now we've got timeout. Collinsville, now will be their last timeout of the half.
Well, you know, and the neat thing about winning a championship on the third grade level is this is the first year that you know that you have your core kids, and you know moving forward you can keep as many of them as you want to, because we kind of reshuffled everything coming out of Mighty Mites, if I'm not mistaken. So now you got a chance to start thinking long term. Hey, can we win more than one of these things? And we've had quite a few teams that have rolled off 2 or 3, 4 championships. It doesn't happen often, but it's a neat story that we'll follow next year as we move into the 2020 INFC season.
Well, one thing also coming out of Mighty Mites, you go from 8 to 11 players on the field. You also they cut the field in thirds, so they lose a third of the field, so the field's now wider. And once again, just a whole little different atmosphere for them, but these two teams have done a tremendous job adapting to it.
Well, and thank you for a tremendous job, as they always do. Thanks to Dick's Sporting Goods. Hey, if you have an opportunity to buy sporting goods for your son or daughter, no matter what sport they want to participate, go to Dick's, because they do a lot for our kids. And now we've got a pass picked off by the Warriors.
Looks like by number 99, Jace Kent. And it'll be 1st and 10 at 50-yard line, and that'll probably be the ball game. And I expect you to see Glenpool take a knee and get in the best formation in football, which is what, Don?
The victory formation. Well, since Jace Kent was able to pick the pass off, they call this a segue. I'd like to thank his dad for hooking me up with the sponsorship. In fact, he's the general manager for Permabuilt, and he saw your post and my post about on Facebook about helping sponsor this event today. He jumped on it. We thank you very much for that. Foundation problems, call the experts. Free estimates, just call Permabuilt, and they'll get the job done for you. And as Richard talked about, the clock's moving inside of 35 seconds.
This might be their only snap of the ball game, as they should take. I say should take a knee, but they have proven me wrong all day today, Don. So we'll see what they do here. They don't.
Well, you got one. So now you're 1 for 5.
Hey, let's give it up for the Glenpool Warriors. Are they your 2019 third grade INFC champions? What a great season Collinsville has had. Also, great ball game. Glenpool showed the dominance on offense.
Well, it's nice to see that the Collinsville fans jumped up just as the game was ended as well and gave their group a rousing applause, and we will do that for both teams as well. That'll give us a chance on the live stream to re-look at the scoring plays. We got the 3 touchdowns that the Warriors were able to run off for you.
This right here, Don, is the one that started the third quarter. You couldn't do this on PlayStation. I couldn't do this with the joystick in my hands. This kid did all sorts of moves. There's one, then a spin move, still stays in bounds down the sideline, outruns everybody and goes in for that second touchdown. And, he didn't score because this is where I would have gave it to him, but they'd had him down inside the 1 yard line, and I do believe that's where Bacon ran it in off the right side for another touchdown.
Yeah, that second one was the one that you were nice enough to tell everybody that I was running stadium stairs or whatever.
Yeah, you were. You were out there getting your cardio in. It's very important to see you do that, Don. As you got up to the top and pulled out your best Rocky imitation as you jumped around as if you just did something. So that's pretty impressive. Now we got the other big run by Ken on the pass as he swings it out as the back coming out of the backfield, and he takes it to the house, which gives us our 3 touchdown for the Warriors, 18-0 championship. And once again, Collinsville doing a great job recognizing their group of kids as they did an incredible job this year, making it all the way to the championship game. Collinsville's got a lot to look forward to in their youth organization as they have done a tremendous job continually putting people in.
So now we're going to throw it over to the public address announcer, and he'll take us through the handing out of the hardware and our special guest presenter on the field as she shows up almost every year for the INFC championships. We'd like to thank her so much. That's Carrie Sumter and all the things that Dix does for youth football and youth sports in general. We'll be back with the live stream when we kick off the 4th grade game.